Oh, okay. You should be able to hear now. Hi, you should be able to hear me on Google Hangout now. My apologies. Somehow there was a mute button and that was muted. So sorry for that. Good thing that I read your comments. So let's keep going. Otherwise, okay, perfect. Okay. Audio is fixed. You can hear now. Please holler back. Perfect. Okay. So where were we? We were on Amazon, right? So please read the customer review very, very well. And most products will have, especially if it's a B2C, if it's a consumer product, it will have customer review. Somebody's going to want to know how to use it, right? So please read that really well. I personally have walked into an interview. I was interviewing with a company called DoorDash, and they do food delivery, right? And I walked into the interview, and the people across from me was like, "Well, um, you know, why are you interviewing with us and not with our competitors?" Right? And I was like, "Well, I read 200 reviews for you guys, and I read 200 reviews for your competitors. Actual end user review." Right? And I found that like your customers love you. You deliver faster food, you have better customer service, and your competitors have so many complaints. Right? So I'm giving them an actual real answer, and they absolutely love that. And then also, if you understand the challenges that the company is facing, then you can also propose solution. And how you propose solution is that, for example, I would be saying, well, I was reading online that you guys are really slow with certain, time period in delivering food. Maybe what you can do is during the time period, you can provide extra money for the drivers, like an Uber search model, right? So by saying these sort of things, the the interviewer appreciates that you have really taken out the time and to really understand. Okay. Okay, perfect. So let me just go back to this and then we will continue. But 1 second. Live. Okay, perfect. Let me share the screen again so that you can see my screen. So if you are on Google Hangout, now you can see my screen and we're going to go to the next one, right? So I've already shared with you how to do research. First, use LinkedIn, then use annual report, then use customer review, then use case studies. So the next one that one of my favorite is where we are right now is YouTube. Yes, I love YouTube. I'm a visual learner. I've always such a huge fan. So when I go to YouTube here, if you're interviewing with a company like just say Netflix, you can type in Netflix CEO, and you want to know what the CEO says in his interviews. I mean, he's done many interviews. A lot of them are on YouTube, and clearly enough, right? You can type in, or you can find out his name and type in directly, which is Reed Hastings, and he's given so many interviews. And here is where you can learn where this company is trying to grow. What is already done and what his vision is. And imagine how powerful it is for you to be going into an interview and and then tell the interviewer, look, the reason why I love to work for Netflix is because your founder is such a visionary, right? He is taking TV to the internet and he's disrupting an entire industry, multi-billion dollar, very established massive industry. He's disrupting this. And so, I'm such a huge fan, right? So you get this information based on watching him, using his language, and then sharing it back in the interview. Okay, Perfect. So after that, so please spend lots of time, and you don't necessarily just want to watch the interviewer. Sometimes there's a team of like executives, the CFO, the COO, find out their names, search for their names on YouTube to see if there's actual interviews, and really get into the language. You have to understand that company, kind of like the post and their feelings, right? So by watching it, you can have a much better time than reading something on a like a piece of paper. Okay, speaking of reading, the next thing I want you guys to do is go to google.com/news. And in google.com/news is when this is a place where they only pull up news, not anything else. It's not just normal Google, it's only news. So there's a search box. So like, for example, if you're going to be interviewing for a company, like I said, Alibaba, as an example, you can type in Alibaba, and they give you the um, the latest news relating to Alibaba, so that you can learn about it. You can learn, okay, is this company doing well? Is this company not doing well? What are the expansion plans? Where they want to move to? In an interview, you can be like, look, I just saw on the news that you guys are looking to move to Asia, right? And I happen to spend 6 months in Asia. I love this space, right? So by getting the latest news, you can actually really understand the company, and you might even teach the interviewer something new, because the interviewer might not know everything about the company. So during the interview process, by reading the news, and especially the latest news, you're going to be so up to date. Okay, so this is where I would spend a little bit of time. The last place that I would recommend, and there are many things, right? But these are the foundational, is a Slideshare.net. And Slideshare.net is where they have really awesome PowerPoints. This is where you can deep dive into the topic. So as an example, you are researching, you interviewing for, into a company that does the Internet of Things, right? Then you can click on search, and then it will give you tons of PowerPoints on Internet of Things that you can deep dive into this. Of course, you can do the same thing in YouTube, and I suggest you do both. For me, like I said, I'm a super visual learner. If you give me like some really boring text to read, it's a little bit harder for me to digest. But like by reading PowerPoints and by listening to YouTubes, I just learn super fast. Okay. All right. Perfect. So this is what is happening here. So that's all that it is for this part. I'm going to walk you through the next part, which is one of my favorite part, is how to build long-term domain and industry expertise. This is a really important question. So let me first pull this up. Give me a second. Okay, perfect. So what I want to make sure right now is that I'm moving already into the next part. Hang on. New window. Okay. So it's a very common question. A lot of people ask me, look, T. Lily, I'm a fresh graduate. I've been only working for 3 years, right? How do I build industry experience so that I sounds really knowledgeable, so that I can truly stand out during an interview process? And let me also tell you, building a solid foundation of industry knowledge will make you be very confident. So like for me, when I walk into a interview room, I don't think of it like, oh my gosh, the interview has all the power and I'm so small and I'm here. But I think of it as like the exchange of peers, the exchange of like-minded minds. I think of it as like having coffee or tea with an old friend, and we're going to talk about our favorite topics. And I'm going to contribute as much as knowledge into this meeting as the other side, right? But you can only have that sort of confidence and that sort of fun if you have consistently, at least during the past 3 months, consistently on a daily basis, build up industry knowledge. So I don't propose, I'm sorry, I don't have any shortcut for you. As in, like, okay, tell me how I can be an expert of cloud computing tomorrow. I'm sorry, I don't have any shortcut for you. But what I'm saying is that there are tools that I can show you. And if you're willing to invest the time, you can build up the knowledge base at least in the next 3 months. So it's not going to help you for your interview next week. I'm sorry. But if you have an interview 3 months from now, it will be awesome. And also, it will also help. So if you're in college, this is a perfect time to do this. It will also help you doing your current job. Because why? Like, for example, you're working in your current job and then you have a big boss from another office coming to town, right? And you bump into that big boss in the hallway, right? And then you know that big boss because, you've been hearing your friends who've been telling you that, oh my gosh, he is like really into the Internet of Things, right? And this is what your company does, as an example. And you don't know what to say. You don't know which company's been working on this. You don't know any cool things about this. You're bumping him to the hallway. You say, it's very embarrassing, and you wasted an opportunity to meet somebody and to talk to them and to share. So it doesn't not necessarily help you in your job search, but it will also help you to build relationship. Imagine how cool is it if you bump into him and you say, hey, look, I know you like really into the Internet of Things. And, I find the whole concept so fascinating as well. I think one day if, machines start talking to each other and they would know things even before we know things, how cool would that be? I mean, some people find that creepy, but I would find it really cool. I would find it cool that if I go on Google and Google is linked, to my like phone and linked to my thermostat, and it can read that like my house, the AC is broken, and then Google will serve me AdWords telling me where I can find people who fix my AC even before I know that my AC is broken. That would be awesome, right? So having this sort of knowledge, you can totally like build new relationships. So it's not just, researching for the company, but also like building relationship of the people surrounding you. And if you start doing this for the next like 3 months, I guarantee you're just gonna have so much more fun in life, right? So, okay, how are you gonna be able to build long-term knowledge and industry knowledge? The first place I would do is podcast. I love podcasts. So let's go here. I'm sure you know what podcast is, but if you don't, let me show you a picture what it looks like. So this podcast is this picture here, this icon here, this icon right here. You can find on your iPhone, or you already, or you can download it on any phone. Just type in podcast and you can download an app. Once you're in that app, then it's like a radio, right? Of like the smartest mind, the most brilliant minds of our time speaking directly into your ears. How awesome is this? So, before when I like do my long run, 21K and things like that, I would listen to music, which I still love. But now I would spend a lot of time listening to podcasts. When I'm at the bus station, I'm waiting for the bus, I'm waiting for in line for anything. There's a lot of like dead time during the day, right? I would turn on my podcast and I would listen to my favorite people. Who are my favorite people? I'm going to include a link below so you can see where you can get started. And then, they would also talk about other brilliant people. And then from there, you can search for other things, right? So you can slowly building it out. Also, some companies like Goldman Sachs will have their own podcasts. So if you interview in Goldman Sachs, go listen to their podcast, understanding what they do, right? So please start, build a habit, of listening to podcasts and and this is you on podcasts, you can listen to anything. There's financial advice. There's if you're into the latest trend in tech, they will have summaries of this directly into your ear. So please listen to podcasts. Now, the second tool I'm going to show you is what I call Feedly. I'm going to type it in here into my Google Hangout page. Feedly is an awesome place. You can create a free account. And what it does is it aggregates all the news. So instead of like in the morning, I have to go to BBC News and then Wall Street Journals, and then Huffington Post, too many places I have to click on. I'm not going to go it over there. Instead, I can tell Philly what I like, and it will pull all those news into one place. So, and it's an app on my phone as well. So I just like, if I open it up, like now you can see I am this is under my group is called career development. And then, I just scroll down very quickly until career development. And you can track companies as well. So like, for example, here you can go to the search box. You can click on tech if you're tracking tech. Then you can click on wired.com, techcrunch.com, and they will pull the best articles in tech so that you could, have more knowledge. And like, for example, right, I was following some key terms like banks in Vietnam. And at the time I was selling to banks in Vietnam. And, right before the meeting, I was in a cab. I just pulled up my Feedly app, right? And then I saw an article that says like the State Bank of Vietnam, the Central Bank of Vietnam is going to crack down and is going to make the banks consolidate and merge. And so some banks are going to die, right? So this is like a really important piece of information. And of course, I was meeting with the CIO of a bank. And of course, this is a pain point that was on his mind. So I came in and I said, look, I just saw the news, this is going to tremendously affect the entire banking industry. We're here to help you. So let's see how we can work through this difficult time together. All right. So, and immediately he's going to be thinking of me as like a peer. He's going to be thinking of me as somebody who understands his challenges, right? So please start tracking news, and Feedly is a fantastic way of tracking these news. So the last thing that I'm going to tell you is, see, now I completely forgot. So focus on Feedly. What was the last thing that I was going to tell you? Within the podcast, it already has really, really cool. Within the podcast, it already has really, really cool like TED Talks and all that. So so I think if you just get started with Feedly, and then you just get LinkedIn posts. Here you go. You just type in the word LinkedIn post, and I would actually save it as like a favorite button. There's also an app, so you can download this as well. So what LinkedIn post does is that it's published article by influencers, right? So like when you go to the post button and you go to search here, you can search by categories. So like if you're tracking sales, you're in sales, you want to track sales strategies, people are writing about this topic. So you can just click on this and then you can quickly look through like all the latest, thought leaderships on specifically like on sales, right? So this is another thing that you can do. But the two things I would highly recommend is podcast. Please make a habit of listening to it. And then the Feedly. And then this is actually also quite useful. So I'm going to stop right now. If you have any questions for me, you can type directly into the live stream on Facebook, or you can type it into the Google Hangout box under the video, right? Perfect. Thanks, Stephanie, for letting me know. Now I see your notes. Perfect. So let me see here. Where did it go? So any questions, please let me know. I'm going to give you a few seconds to type it in. Where did the page go? Okay, perfect. Okay. Let me exit this full screen. I hope everybody's doing well. It is Friday, and And well, for me, every day is Friday. That's how much I love life. But I hope you're doing well, enjoying the beautiful day, going out for some exercise and enjoy the beautiful weekend as well. I am going surfing tomorrow in Bali. So I'm just really happy about this. Okay, so I see that you guys don't have any questions for me. So that's okay, but please make a habit. You will find this investment in building up your knowledge super rewarding, super rewarding. And then before you know it, all the people around you will be coming to you and say, "Hi, wow, Stephanie, how come you know so much?" Right? So yeah, so it would be awesome that you know so much, right? So you're gonna be like the focal point where everybody comes by and asks you information. So please make the investment, and then make the investment as well to do the research on the company before you go in. They would love you for it, and it would just be a lot more fun. And especially if you find out things that you don't like about the company, if you read customer review and it's all bad, then maybe you should apply to a different company, right? Okay, guys, that's it for me. Have a fantastic Friday. Rock on. Bye bye.